The Phantom Toll Booth, your gateway to music and more from a Christian perspective, presents press conferences from the only Christian music festival that really matters, the Cornerstone Festival 2012. Sit back, relax, and you will hear from some of the most fascinating, intriguing, and sometimes controversial musicians, authors, and organizations around. Tollbooth.org. Slow down.
Thanks once again,
and
ladies
have
and
your
gentlemen,
change
for
ready.
joining us at the Phantom Toll Booth Cornerstone 2012 press tent. Joining us right now are the 38 and a halves.
Thank you. I think something good's going to happen tonight.
Did you catch that, Mike? I referred to you as the 38 and a halves.
Thank you.
And why
Okay,
would I do that?
first question. Are you the interviewer?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, I know you were dreading that.
Dan, if someone wanted to ask a question,
If someone wanted to ask a question, they should step right here, and I would be more than happy to hold the microphone for you so that you might ask said question. By all means, feel free to do so.
I do have an opening statement. It's like, how come it took Cornerstone to end for us to have a proper press tent once again? You know, what, the last couple years it's been dwindling down to almost nothing. Poor Linda's
Well,
out.
it was nothing last year.
Yeah, you know, Linda's out there playing her bongos in the dirt and doing a dance, and you broke all your feet and all laid up and
Actually,
everything.
it was my shoulder.
Oh, okay. Well, but you know what I'm saying? This is like the good old days. Everyone's rising to the occasion.
So you guys are back on the road again. Imagine that. Do you ever go off the road?
Well, it's sadly, you know, with the economy being the way it is, I can't speak for David because he's a rich entrepreneur, but most of my income now is from personal appearances. So yes, I have to stay on the road all the time.
And this tour is to promote the remastered Sticks and Stones LP, correct?
That and Echoes of Faith.
The brand new Echoes of Faith. Tell us a little bit about that.
Which one?
The new one.
The new Echoes of Faith has another concert inside that we found. I knew about it, but I remember hearing it and thinking it was no good. And then when we wanted to re-release Echoes, we saw how much people enjoyed the Sticks and Stones package with the extra live tracks and stuff. So I went on this search and seizure mission through my daughter's closet, which is where all the archives are buried in between all her baby dresses and stuff. And I was just listening to all these tapes, and it was just a nightmare. And then eventually I found this thing that was mislabeled in Brian Healy's handwriting. I thought, this isn't going to be any good. And I hear Healy and Sean Doty doing this set together at Echoes of Faith, and all of a sudden, in the middle of it, we pop on, and there's this hilarious concert that it turned out it was our very first concert at that venue, and I'd forgotten all about it. So I thought, oh man, this is it. So that was our bonus disc, and then I wrote an essay about the whole experience and what it was like to play there and why we made a record out of it. So.
That's not the only new merchandise you have available. You've got a brand new Cornerstone is Dead Long Live Cornerstone CD. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we thought at the last minute we got the idea that maybe it would be nice for everyone here to have a souvenir of all their years of seeing the band. So we put out a note on Facebook. How many times have we played here? What were the years, you know? And there was some contention about what they were. I couldn't remember all of them. And eventually we narrowed it down. We got the list, and then we said, well, do any of you have recordings that you made or films or something? We want to put together a little surprise package. So stuff came in from everywhere. I heard things on this that I don't even remember us doing. I mean, really bizarre 20-minute versions of Indian Winter that sounds like, like Weather Report on speed or something like that. Really crazy stuff. So I thought, well, the quality's a little bit squirrely, but this is, after all, a souvenir. It's a fun bootleg package, and I figured it'd be something that all the fans would really enjoy. So we've got that.
What else do you have that's new, if anything at all?
There's this thing called Seeds and Stems, which was part of the Sticks and Stones package. It's a green cover, and it's basically more live recordings of the band from the classic lineup of the 80s.
Seeds and Stems, what kind of reference might that be?
I didn't name that. It had nothing to do with the record companies responsible. I just you know, it's all freedom.
Dave, what did it take to get you out of retirement this time around? Did he have to beg?
No, I quit my job, so I was my own boss. No, I started my own business, and I can decide what I want to do and when I want to do it. Mike called last year and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a tour to support Sticks and Stones," and man, it sounded like a great time. That's of all the records, that's probably my favorite, even over the stuff that I've been on. Sticks and Stones is just kind of the quintessential 77s record for me, and chance to play those songs again is, it's great. It's really fun.
You are playing just up the road this evening, correct? At Rock Island? Illinois?
Yeah.
So if anybody wanted to follow you there.
Yeah, we're playing at District Drugs. It's a drug store. I've never used our music to sell drugs, but tonight we're going to make an exception.
He's just used the sleeves to take care of the Simpsons.
Yeah, all of these drug references. I mean, I think we're a little old for that, but whatever it takes, folks. Come and see us out there. If you liked what you saw last night, come tonight, and we'll be
exact same thing.
Exact same thing, except we'll be standing right between the bedpans and the thing that they help, to udder cream for the cows, And they sell all kinds of tinctures and ointments and so on.
You're going to grab a walker right there too, right?
I've been tempted to many a time.
Any questions from the audience at this point? I believe we do. Oh, no. Linda doesn't have one, but Darren does. You're going to be playing in Cincinnati, by the way, on Monday, correct? Or just south of Cincinnati in Florence, Kentucky?
Yes, we are with the Violet Burning. We're opening for them. And although we might end up doing a thing where we both co-headline sort of thing. So Mike versus, Roe versus Pritzl, to the max.
First, I want to commemorate you for making music that is so good and has held up extremely well over 20 plus years.
Thank you.
It just sounds so good. When you went back over the catalog to look at stuff to do as just the two of you, was there anything you really wanted to do but you couldn't really figure out how to do it with just the two of you?
Well, I mean, that's why we used the drum audition loop contest gag, because we knew that some of these songs, there was just no way we were going to be able to play them. We hadn't even considered doing that, because I don't like playing to loops and things like that, but once we got into this, we thought, oh man, this is going to be horrible. So we had to find a way to sort of create some rhythm up there, so we made kind of a big joke out of it. And it's been nice, it kind of breaks the show up and gives a little comedy flair to it. But there's a lot of songs we'd love to play, but just the two of us in this way, there's only so far we can go without having to resort to real tracks, which would be kind of Holiday Inn lounge kind of stuff. So we wouldn't be doing earache and things like that. I suppose if I were Jack White or someone like that, he wouldn't care. He would just stand up there by himself and play the whole album, But it gets a bit noisy and messy, and I'm a little bit more dainty than Jack.
Just like the question I asked you last night, is there the potential for any full band projects coming up, and perhaps all four of you hitting the road? Or even five, maybe?
We tried that 5-piece, remember? That was a disaster. Well, there's been talk. Mark and Bruce are chomping at the bit, so I think we're probably going to go into the studio sometime in the fall and start messing around. And while that's happening, I'm going to prompt Dave to send me some songs like he used to back when we first started working together. And hopefully, if we can't get Dave physically on the record, we might be able to start co-writing again. I know that he's involved with doing another Strawman record. And you guys are pretty far along with the writing on that, right? Yeah. So if I can get Dave back in on the writing, that'll make me feel more excited about it.
The hits will return.
Yeah, the hits will return. Because, drums and bass guys, they like to play funk riffs and stuff like that, It's really hard to get them to settle into pop things. And I think where the 77s shined, for me anyway, was the real melodic pop material, the real catchy stuff. And that came from Dave and myself to some extent, and Mark Tootle certainly. So I want to try to re-emphasize that aspect of the band versus the heavy metal, funk riff, stuff that bass players do.
You mentioned from stage last night what Cornerstone had meant to you over the years, and this may be a two-parter, but over almost 3 decades, you've seen a lot of change in music and the industry. Could you reflect a little bit on Cornerstone and also on where you see the future of independent musicians?
Well, when we started, we were just trying to get a foothold in anywhere. So in 1984, when we first played here, it was one of the first real big festivals that accepted us as we were without trying to change us or us squeeze into some kind of mold the way, not to put Creation down or any of those. It's just that those established festivals were for more established artists, and we didn't ever fit into any peg, any square hole of any kind. We basically found people like all of you who were just like, yeah, I get that. I like that variety. I like that weird combination of sweet and nasty. And that's how we built our fan base, was just word of mouth and people liking this. It's kind of like licorice, like a lot of people when black licorice, if they like it, they really like it. But a lot of people just do not like licorice or they hate it. So I always felt like our fans were the licorice lovers of this whole music thing. And that's kind of how it's been. Like if people like us, they really like us. So this festival gave us a semi-annual platform to keep developing that, building our audience, because we weren't welcome at the other festivals, or we had to beg to play them. And then when we'd play them, it was always a disaster. So having one place every year that we knew we could go and find the people that really loved us, I think has enabled us to keep going, I don't know how we would have kept going otherwise. Because without this central place to build our identity and our music, I just think we would have probably faded away a long time ago. So, I mean, it's incalculable. I can't really... I'd have to sit down and think about it. I still probably couldn't come to the end of how important this has been to us. So I'm very grateful for it. And it's sad to see it end this way, but... a lot of things in life have an arc. They start, they peak, and then they end, and that's okay. For us, it's been going downhill for a long time because we've gotten older, our audiences have gotten older, and so we're not there was a time where we used to get here and we'd get out of the van and just be, assaulted by fans wanting autographs and pictures. We'd go in the product tent and we'd be signing until we'd drop, just hundreds and hundreds of people doing that. And then that changed, we got older and bigger, and all the young bands started to sort of show up, and it's like, get out of the way, Methuselah, we're on our way to see some Screamo band, And so it started to become more of a Lost Dogs. That's why the Lost Dogs became more of an emphasis for us, because it was appealing to more families and older people, grandmas, kids, all ages. And I think that's why the Lost Dogs came to prominence, and we put all our eggs in that for a long time, because we were trying to go with our audiences. And so 77s took a back seat for a long time. And we show up every once in a while and people enjoy it, but it's not like the old days, So I don't know. It's been sad for us for a long time. Not like crying sad, but we've kind of, we've seen it wind down for us, but we didn't know the festival was winding down. I had no idea they were in trouble. So it's very unfortunate. I think I don't know what's going to take its place, if anything. So, yeah, it's a real bummer. What can I say? I hope that some other thing like it will happen, something else attached to the community. I've heard that they have an interest in maybe starting a music venue out by Friendly Towers, which is down where they live, and who knows what could happen. But yeah, this really isn't replaceable. And I don't know about the young bands. I don't know where they'll go, what other places. I'm sure they'll find places, but what we really liked about this festival, especially at the beginning, is that it was planned and run by musicians who knew how musicians needed to be treated, because the other festivals, you just show up and they sort of corral you into your dressing room. Everything is really by the book. Whereas I know that Glenn and Wendy always knew what musicians need when they show up at a festival. So when we got here, we weren't just treated with respect. We were given the things we needed to do our job, and they knew what those were because they've spent years on the road. So I think that was the single greatest thing about this festival that made us fall in love with it, besides the fact that then our fans started to come to us here. So it was a lot of good stuff, I haven't seen it at any other festival that I've played, with the exception of maybe Soul Fest, which is out in New Hampshire, that our friend Dan Russell runs. That's a good festival. He seems to have a feel for it because, again, he's worked, he road managed U2 for years, and so he knows what musicians need. So it's important if you have a festival that's musically focused, that the people that are in charge of the musical aspect have had experience with dealing with musicians and what they need and want, providing the only thing that sucked about Cornerstone is no dressing room, man. That really sucked. Unless you were main stage, we had that really ice cold trailer that was really good. But when you play the gallery stage, last night I had my pants down around my ankles, and sure enough, some guy pulls up with his big horse trailer and shines right on me, and I've got stepping in my pant, and tripping things, and all my stuff's falling out of my pockets. That's the glamorous world of rock and roll. You have no idea how glamorous it is. All right, that's it. I talked enough.
Real quick, Dave, Mike referenced a new Strawman project. When can we look forward to hearing what that might sound like?
Well, it's going to kind of depend on how soon we can all get in the same place at the same time. When we played on the West Coast back in April, Bill Harmon joined us for several shows, and I think up to that point he was feeling like it might happen, it might not happen, and he had so much fun and enjoyed singing again on stage that he was fired up. And I think because of that, it's probably going to happen sooner than later, but I would really like us all to be in the same room at the same time, whereas Saving Faded Dreams was a little more spread out. We had to do it in sections, and I'd really like us all to be together for this next record, but the hard part's done. Most of the songs are written, and it just needs to be brought together as a band. So, maybe later this year.
I trust that with Mike's involvement on Saving Faded Dreams that he is now an official part of Strawman.
Maybe, if he's a good boy.
Mike, anything solo in your future?
Any what?
Anything solo in your future?
Inevitably, yeah. That's probably the next big project I'm going to work on, because people have been after me for years to do another Say Your Prayers type album, because it was contemplative and spiritual and personal. And I guess I just haven't been in that space for a long time because I've been so busy working with Lost Dogs and doing all these other things. It's hard to get in a space to write an album like that. I had to really go to a deep place within myself. And so I'm hoping to take some time off from the road in the next year and try to really dig deep and get some new thoughts out there. Sometimes it's hard to write stuff, especially if you're going through struggles or deep struggles in your spiritual life or your personal life. That can either prompt material or it can stifle material if you're afraid of what you might write about. So a lot of times that's where I'm at, is that I wait until I feel like I'm safe with what I want to say, or I can get to a point where it just doesn't matter, I'm just going to say it anyway. And because typically our fans have depended on us for writing those kinds of songs that go to that scary place in our lives, whether it's relationship scary or God scary. We've never been afraid to attack those things head on, but the older I've gotten, the more I guess I've gotten afraid more. I don't know what it is.
You've got how many more dates left on this tour?
7 or 8.
7 or 8.
7 or 8. That's the span of what, over two, maybe 3 weeks?
No.
1 week.
No?
1 week.
1 week? Okay.
No days
And then
off.
how long do you have off before you hit the road with the dogs?
I have about 2 weeks. I'm going to do some family stuff in Ohio with my wife, and then the dogs go out on July 25th, and we're out till August 14th. We're just going to do a summer tour just for the heck of it. We haven't played together for a long time, and yeah, we're just going to go out and play for everybody. So hopefully if we come to your town, come and see the dogs. It's a rare occurrence these days.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Rowe, David Linhart from the 77s, or the 38 and a halves as they sit right here, one half of said group. Thanks for joining us, guys. Great show last night. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for stopping by the Phantom Toll Booth on YouTube. Before you go, make sure you visit our website and browse around our album, movie, concert, and book reviews, the latest music news, and our extensive archive dating back 16 years. Bookmark our site, check out our videos and newsfeed. Make room for that shadowy structure on your journey ahead. Tollbooth.org, slow down, and have your change ready.